You might think offering the ability to perform a find by tasks would be useful. You could find any overdue tasks, tasks for a particular employee, or even tasks for a particular company. But I think what is more useful in this case is a report that includes a find. Finds are really one-dimensional. We'd have to create a task layout, form, and list, and allow somebody to go between tasks and also show the project that it's associated with and all those kinds of things. But ultimately, we can do the same thing with a report and get a much better overview in one view about what's going on, because we can use a sub-summary. So we can include information about the project, information about the company, the employee, and the status, and of course the tasks. So when you decide to do a report, and we can show this report in browse mode and have interactive navigable buttons and things like that, but still allowed to print out. So when you decide to do this kind of stuff and do a report, you have to look at everything that's going to be included. And like I said, we have the project, the company, the employee, the status, and the task. Well, where's all that stuff come from? Well, let's take a look at Manage Database and the relationships. And so we're choosing companies information, employee information, project information, task information. We're not ready to use subtasks, but you can see all those different tables here. We have 4 different tables where this information is coming from. And when you have that, you have to decide, if we have a layout that's used for a report, we have to use one table occurrence as where we're going to show records from. You can't choose all 4. All the other 3 of these 4 are going to be related. So which one do we choose? Do we choose companies, employees, projects, tasks? Well, ultimately you're going to choose tasks because it's the lowest on the totem pole. It has the most records. And we can pull information from the other ones into it. You don't want to make it based on companies, because then you can't organize the tasks. But with tasks, you can organize the task and say it belongs to this project, in this company, and this employee, as you'll see. It's clearly the way to go whenever you're designing some type of report. Look at every table you're bringing information from and go to the one that's lowest on the totem pole, the one with the most records. And that will be the one you want to base it on. So if we were going to include subtasks, then we want to go ahead and base it on subtasks, which actually happens to be tasks. It's a little strange there, but that's the way it works. Okay, so let's click OK. Go to layout mode. Make ourselves a new layout. We're going to base it on, again, tasks. We're going to say report. Actually, I'm going to start with tasks _ report. Choose this computer, choose form. I don't want to go through the printer thing and go through that whole, I just want to make the layout. And what I'm going to do here is change this to minimalist. There we go. This will be good for printing out to any kind of printer. You can choose color if you want, because we're going to show this in browse mode as well as preview mode and printout. But I'm going to choose this just because I like to have it look like a report. Okay, so we want to start with our title, report by task, something like that. Make that a little bit bigger. Put it up here in the upper left-hand corner. Scrunch that up. And let's show our page breaks just so we can see what's going on. And what we need is a sub-summary, and quite a few of them. We're going to do them one by one. We're going to do a sub-summary by, let's see, by project, I think should be the top level. So what we're going to do is choose KF Projects ID. That will organize them by project. Doesn't mean I have to show the project ID. And when it asks you for above or below, it's referring to the body part. We're going to choose above here. Make this quite a bit smaller. And we'll drag in a field here. From projects, we're going to choose the name. That's what we want there. Move that over there. Make it wide enough. There's nothing really that has to be in there. And maybe tighten it up a little bit. And then we'll go into browse mode or preview mode, whichever you want. Now, in order for it to work in browse mode, we have to make sure that we have it set up on list view. So I chose form view, so I'm going to check this one and uncheck that one. And that will make it work. If you choose form view, it won't work. You've got to have list view. So go into browse mode. And you notice it says nothing. But if we sort, so we'll go into our records and sort, that's when your report or your sub-summary comes alive. So we want to choose KF Projects ID and sort it. And you see there's our projects right there. Now I don't see project 1 because I think we don't have any tasks in there. So let's go ahead and change that. We'll go into layout mode. Go back to our interface for projects. Go to browse mode. And we saw project 2. Let's go to project 1. And you can see there's no tasks in there. So test the solution. And really doesn't matter to have this information right now, but I'll put some in there. And there's enough to get it going. So we'll switch back to layout mode, go back to our tasks report, and while we're here we might as well do what we have to do is uncheck it from there. I don't want it to show there, and make ourselves a little report section. In fact, I think I'll use a folder here, call it reports, in case we have multiple reports, and stick that one in there, and there we go. We'll switch back over to our reports, task report, go into browse mode, and now you can see both projects in there. As soon as we unsort it, they're gone. This is an important thing to notice. It's not just taking them off there. There's a lot of cool things you can do with that. But let's go on and we'll talk about it more later. So we might want to see in that project all the tasks. So what do we do? Since we're in the tasks layout, we're going to insert a part we had there before. We changed the existing one. We're going to add a body part again. And then we'll option or control drag this field. And we'll choose the task name. That's going to come from the current table. And there we go, task name. Now we're going to probably want some other fields in there, so I'll make it kind of short here. Tighten that up. And then go into browse mode. It's a little bit off. I like these things to be perfect. There we go. Go to browse mode. And we can see now we probably want to indent this. This is a common thing to do. Now it looks like it's indent, so why is it not showing? Let's see here. Go back to browse mode. And oh, right, we haven't sorted it. That's probably the issue, right? Sort it. And all of a sudden it looks much better. Now we have a couple of tasks that don't have any projects with them. Those are just data we worked with before. So I'm going to delete those records. I'm just going to use the quick delete there. And there we go. So now what we have here is the ability to see project 1, what the tasks are, and we can put any additional information we want, but I don't want these borders on there, especially if we go to preview mode. They don't show up there, but in browse mode, where I'm going to be viewing them, I don't want them to enter into the fields, change any data, and I certainly don't want these little outlines on them. So we'll come in here, select both these fields, prevent entry, go over here, and you can see there's that solid line around there. That should fix it. Let's see what happens. And good. It looks good, but I don't really want that white background, so we'll again select these and choose none, and that should be the finished thing right there. So that looks pretty good inside this mode. And you can see how in browse mode you can actually select these records. These aren't records up here. What they are is they're showing the first value from the first record, or the value from the first record. So project 2 comes from task 1. It could have come from task 2 or task 3, but it comes from task 1. So that's what it's showing. When you use a sub-summary, it's using values from the first record generally. There's exceptions to that, but that's generally the idea. And so we don't need to see the project over and over and over again. That's why we don't have a column. We want a sub-summary that organizes it by what we want to see. And we can add any number of sub-summaries in here. Let's add another one in here. Go to insert, sub-summary, when sorted by, and the next one that probably makes sense, I think, is going to be the company. In fact, actually the company and the project are going to be equal, so we don't need a sub-summary by company here. We actually just need to add the company onto this area right here. And let's option or control drag here. And we'll choose our company and choose the name. That's all we need to see. There we go. Move that over a little bit. And we could use a merge field here. In fact, it might be the best thing to do here. I'm going to go ahead and get my merge field. And what we're going to get by doing that is the ability to make things move together, so we don't take up, it's not column, it's going to scrunch together like a form letter does, which is what I want. So we'll put a merge field in there. First thing we want is, I'm going to go with the company name here, I think. And then we'll say a dash, and then insert our merge field, come up to our projects, and use the project name. There you go, that looks pretty good. Make it right about there, extend it over there. Okay, let's check it out and see what it looks like. Okay, Database Pros Project 1 looks good. Now, there could be multiple projects for a particular company. That's a possibility. I didn't think about that, so we actually do want these to be separate. So I'm going to go ahead and take the project out of there. That means I want a sub-summary by company first, right? So we'll insert my part, a sub-summary by company. Now, you don't see any field inside the current table, but you can switch to another table if you want, right? We don't have employees, tasks, all that stuff, but we can go over to companies and tell it to organize by either company ID or company name. I usually choose company ID because that makes sure that there's a value in there and that it sorts correctly. If sometimes a company might be empty, I don't know. I just always choose this, and I can put whatever I want inside that actual sub-summary, which should, if I go to part setup, I can swap them. That should be above right there like that. We'll make them the same size. This one is 30. We'll make this one also 30. And then we're going to indent all this. I'm going to select those and do a shift arrow to the right. And that way I can put this indented like that and insert the field I want. So we'll insert merge field, and we're going to choose the company name. That looks pretty good. I like that. And you can also do things like changing the color, which really can help make things look good. So we'll come over here to the fill and put a nice light gray here so you can see where each company begins and ends. So go into browse mode. And now we haven't sorted by company. That's why it's not showing up. And this is very powerful. If we go to sort, we can add or omit the company, whichever we want. Remember, it's not the company name, but we want it to be by the company ID. And that should be first in the sort. Sort it, and all of a sudden, look at that. Now you have Database Pros, one project. And if we have multiple projects, come over here to our projects, go to browse mode. We'll enter a new project called Project 3. Choose it for Apple. Going to have a task. If there's no task, it's not going to show up because we're in the task layout. So remember that. Test 1. We can go to layout mode again. Go to our reports. Go to browse mode. And you can see now that we have two projects. And I could even use another color for this if I wanted to. There's lots of kinds of things you can do to make things stand out. In fact, what we should probably do is make this one gray. And then make this one completely black, and then make the text inside of it white. That's another thing you can do to make these reports look nice. And I often bold the information that's in there so it really stands out. And then when we go to browse mode, you'll see you can see each company and then within each project and then the tasks. So look, this looks pretty good. I like this a lot. I think I'm going to make this font a little bit bigger. I want to make the major categories stand out, so I'll go up to 14 point, and let's see how that looks. Again, if I don't want to see the company or I don't want to see the project, maybe I just want to see just the companies and all the tasks and no projects. Probably doesn't make that much sense, but if I take the KF project out and sort it, you notice I just see all the tasks and whatever information I decide to put on there, because I might want to have in the status, right? There we go. Go to browse mode, and you can see the status. In fact, we could perform a find before that and say only show me incomplete tasks. There's all kinds of things you can do to change this. In fact, what I want here is I want Apple to be first. Apple's the second company. That's why we're sorting by, you can see by these company ID, and I want it to actually sort by the company name. I have to get it in there. Let's see if we put it in there what happens. It doesn't change there, but if I put it right here and just simply change it above then it's going to change everything. It still organizes them, but now it's alphabetical the way I want it. And then I can throw in the same thing for our project, right? Project name, and then a project ID. There we go. So now the projects will be in order of alphabetical, and it works pretty good. So sorting and understanding the sub-summaries and when they appear and disappear can make one report into many reports. Let's throw in the status here. I don't want the status to be next to each one. I want it to be organized by status. So yet another part. So let's insert another sub-summary when sorted by status. Simple as that. Print above. Done. Make it 30 just like the other ones. We'll move this 10 over like that. Option or control drag this right in there. Insert the merge field. And now we're going to choose our status here. Very often the sub-summary and the field match here. It doesn't have to, but that's generally what you do. Move that up 1 point. Go into browse mode. Put in my sort. I'll use the keyboard command. Put the status on there. And all of a sudden you have everything sorted. Now let's see what happened here. It put canceled in that. That doesn't look right. Let's see what we did wrong here. Let's see. They might not all have statuses. Let's first put those in before I make a judgment call that I did something wrong. So come over here to our projects. Go to our tasks. We'll say underway, complete, and this one is on hold. There we go. Go to layout mode, go back to our reports, go to browse mode, should still be sorted, and let's see, good. So canceled, complete. Yeah, it looks a little bit better when you actually have data in here. And you could put a little underline here if you want. That's another way you can do things. Just underline this. Go back into browse mode, and you can see how your eye goes to the sections that you want, right? And when I'm looking, I'm going, well, this is right, not quite big enough. I'm going to go to 14, and this one's going to go to 18. Looks good. Move this one up a little bit. Okay, let's see how that looks. And you just keep tweaking around with this till it looks good, so you can really look at this report and see what's going on and see what the results of your hard work in their project management is. So that's your report. Those are the basics about a report, but we still need to add in some finds, a script to do it, and some output.